SmartEdit is an editing tool for creative writers. It sits inside Microsoft Word and runs over 25 checks on your documents, highlighting potential writing problems. SmartEdit runs on all recent versions of Microsoft Word for Windows. As a Word add-in, SmartEdit has its own toolbar. The buttons and menu items shown here provide easy access to all the SmartEdit features. With the document open in Word, you're ready to run the SmartEdit checks. All the checks may be run at once, or you may run them individually. The buttons in this section have two parts. The lower half allows you to specify options for that group of checks. For example, if you run all checks at once, you can click the bottom part of the button to choose whether to run them on just dialogue or on just prose. Selecting prose allows you to exclude all the dialogue from your results, while checking dialogue allows you to do things like examining proper nouns used in conversation by your characters. Clicking the top part of the All Checks button runs all the checks on your entire document. One of the more popular checks with SmartEdit users is repetitions. The drop-down on this button allows you to run this check on either individual words or phrases. Click the top part of the button to run the repetitions check on both words and phrases. I'll click phrases to run a check for phrase repetition. SmartEdit begins to scan the entire file. This document is 209 pages long with over 100,000 words. When a check is complete, the results are displayed in the panel on the left. The count column shows how many times each phrase was used. For example, the phrase "down the slope" occurs 22 times in this novel. Just to the right of the phrases, the panel displays the sentences that use the selected phrase, with the phrase itself highlighted in bold text. This is displaying the current phrase "out of the." If we want to take a look at the "down the slope," you just click that. This part of the panel updates to reflect the current phrase. The sentences are helpful in providing the context for the phrase usage. Double-click any of these sentences, and you'll be taken to that place in the document inside Word's editor. There, the result sentence will be highlighted, showing its context within the document. SmartEdit doesn't make any changes for you. It points out potential problem areas and lets you decide what, if any, changes to make. For example, I'll double-click here to change this occurrence of "down the slope." I'll just click in here and delete all of this. He wheeled and ran to the sagebrush. The next and previous result arrows in the toolbar are a handy way to view the results within the document without having to go back and double-click on the sentences in the result panel. I can click Next Result and go through those in the document or previous. Each of the SmartEdit checks will work in this same way. Let's take a look at a few more. The word and phrase usage section has a longer list of checks in its submenu. I'll run the adverbs check, and suddenly we see that this author used lots of adverbs. For example, suddenly is used 52 times. SmartEdit points out every occurrence of that word. You'll see the entire list in the results panel, and once again, double-clicking any result will take you to that location in the document. The dialogue tags check shows words used to indicate what a speaker says. The current recommendation is to use the word "said," so this test reveals any alternatives you've used as well. This novel has 152 uses of "said," 6 uses of the word "muttered." We see those highlighted here. Double-clicking goes to that location in the document. Let's take a look at one more test in this section, redundancies. Sometimes we use redundant phrases without realizing it. This novel has quite a few, like sudden impulse and careful scrutiny. The last set of checks relates to sentences. Sentence start words and phrases shows how sentences begin. This shows whether you have enough variety in your sentence beginnings to keep your writing interesting. A couple that jumped out to me in this check are I reckon, used 56 times, and there was, used 35 times. The punctuation check points out various punctuation devices, allowing you to determine whether they are used correctly. For example, in this novel, semicolons are used 261 times. This first occurrence seems to be an error. I would think that should be a comma rather than a semicolon there. Could easily go to that place and correct that in the document. Multiple consecutive periods shows where 3 periods have been used rather than a single ellipsis character. Also in this section is an option that checks the length of each sentence in the document. According to the Grammar Girl website, sentence length shouldn't exceed 30 to 40 words. This analysis of the Zane Grey novel shows many sentences over that length. At the other extreme, on the short end, there are 327 single-word sentences. With this check, SmartEdit not only points out sentences that may be too long, it also shows the variety in your sentence lengths. Varying the lengths will keep your writing from sounding monotonous. SmartEdit offers many editing features that are quite easy to use. It efficiently locates problem areas in your writing that you may have overlooked. The best way to see the advantages of using SmartEdit is to run through its checks on your own documents. You can download a free 10-day trial at smartedit.com.